Hey guys, Casey again here with Happy Trails Products, and today we're going to do another video in the 2022 KLR650 series. Today we're going to do an install on the engine guard uppers for this bike. So at Happy Trails, our goal is the success of your adventure. So part of that is protecting your bike. You don't want to end up with a broken bike somewhere and end up having to tow your bike out of there. So these uppers help protect your engine against adventure failure. So with that being said, we are going to go through the parts list here, and just to make sure that you have everything before you begin the install. All right, so here we have the engine guard uppers. You should have an upper for each side. And then for the bolt kit, you should have the 2 clamps, and then you should have 4 M8 button heads. You should have 8 M8 washers, and then you should have 2 M8 by 90, and then 2 M8 lock nuts. And with that all checked out, let's go ahead and begin the install. All right, so we're going to start out here by taking off the cover on the light bar, because we'll need access to that. That gives us access to this bolt back here where the top of the upper mounts to. All right, so we've got the guards up to the bike, and we're running the Happy Trails skid plate. So we have, in place of the original skid plate, there are what we call the bat wings. They are the what mounts the engine to the frame, and so we have, in place of those, some triangles that we send with our skid plate. And this engine guard will work with the stock skid plate or other setups here. So this is just the configuration we have. It has been tested with the stock, and so you can run it with that. That's no problem. So you'll have the 2 bolts through the frame down here. You'll have one up here that's shared with the light bar, and we actually need to get the light bar back up under there. It's just in place temporarily for now, just for demonstration purposes. And then where Tim's finger is over there is where we'll put the clamp. So we'll work on those things here and get those in place. All right, so once you have all the bolts in place, we're just going to leave everything loose for now because we need to do the other side too. But you'll have the bracket around the frame back there, 2 bolts into the bracket. You'll have this upper support here bolted in and left loose. And then down here, you'll have the 2 bolts going through either the triangles, if you have our skid plate, or it'll be the existing bracket, the OEM bracket for the skid plate. You'll have that down there. Now, this piece here is the lower, and we're going to go ahead and talk about that. If you did not buy the lowers, then you can kind of ignore this section of the install, but we are going to go ahead and install those as well. Okay, so to install the lower engine guard, you can see that it attaches to the top frame mount under here. And then we're going to go ahead and loosen the skid plate and just let that drop down, because there's a tab here right in the back of the lower, and that is going to attach to the same bolt location as the skid plate. We're going to run a bolt up through both the skid plate and the lower. So we'll go ahead and do that on both sides, and then we'll take a look at what we have. So coming around to the left side of the bike, we're about to put the left side engine guard on here. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to remove this plastic piece here. It's just 1 bolt, and then I've already got my bracket ran around the back of there for the engine guard, but this we're not going to reuse. because the engine guard has a much stronger protection built right onto it than that plastic. So we'll go ahead and get this side on, get the bolts in, and then we'll see what we have. Okay, so for the left side, what you should end up with is your 2 bolts on the rear of the engine guard. You should end up with your bolt here up high, also securing the light bar. And then down under on the frame, you should end up with 2 bolts for the engine guard. And then if you have the lower, that just, again, attaches to the top there. And then I've gone ahead and ran the bolt up through the skid plate and the lower there, so you can see how that attaches in the rear. And that's it. One more final little piece here, and that's going to be the highway peg. We're going to put that on the lower there and show you what that looks like. All right, and there it is. The cherry on top, the highway peg attached to the lowers, and that is the complete install, other than we're going to throw the plastic cover back on over that. But just kind of one thing just to remind you, just keep everything kind of loose until the very end. If you tighten any of it down, it just makes it much harder. So you just kind of want to run everything in finger tight to begin with, and then once you have all the pieces in place, go ahead and cinch it down. That makes everything much easier. So that's it. That is the install video for the 2022 KLR650 Happy Trails engine guards, both uppers and lowers. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about these, and as always, make sure you subscribe. We have a lot more videos coming up for this series that we're doing on this 2022. So do that, hit the bell, do all the things, and hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you guys on the next one.